What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out, as we're witnessing yet another shady Democratic official getting caught up in a massive scandal. This time it's Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, who is under fire and faced some serious legal consequences for her alleged mortgage fraud, guys. And I'm excited to get into this one, so I'm straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
In an unprecedented move, President Donald Trump escalates his pressure against the Federal Reserve, saying he has fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook, citing allegations of mortgage fraud.
Brian Abel is at the White House with questions of whether Trump has the authority to fire her as she vows to fight back.
No president has fired a Fed governor before. The Federal Reserve has been independent of the executive branch since 1951, and it's unclear if President Trump has the ability, the legal authority, to fire Lisa Cook. There's legal ambiguity of what justifies for cause, the only avenue for the president to legally fire her. The allegations stem from Cook's 2021 mortgage applications before she joined the Fed. A CNN review found she listed 2 separate properties as her primary residence. And that's the alleged fraud Trump refers to in his letter firing her, accusing her of making false statements and being deceitful because she could have received better interest rates for primary versus secondary residencies. Cook, who was appointed to a 14-year term by then-President Joe Biden in 2022, is denying the claims.
So there's a little bit of a DEI standoff at the Federal Reserve. Last night, Trump fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook. She's accused of committing mortgage fraud, and the documents she signed, we've seen them, aren't debatable. Cook hired Hunter's lawyer and is hunkering down at the Fed. So who is Lisa Cook? She's a Biden appointee who keeps siding with Too Late Jerome to keep rates up. She's also a DEI economist.
I think it was really groundbreaking for the Biden-Harris transition to have as one of its core values promoting diversity. It's not just racial and ethnic diversity, it's not just gender diversity, but also geographic diversity, diversity along so many different dimensions. So I'm glad that there's a focus on it.
Diversity is good for your portfolio, but managing the U.S. economy, let's go with merit. Lisa doesn't seem up to snuff. Chris Rufo says she's been plagiarizing academic papers for a decade, and she's obsessed with pronouns.
How can principles of economics instructors incorporate more diversity into their classroom?
I think the first way to do it is to look at the textbooks. Last time I talked to Paul Krugman and Robin Wells about their textbooks, they were negotiating with the publisher to use gender-neutral pronouns.
But there's one thing she loves more than pronouns: calling Trump a dictator.
My European friends told me before Trump was elected not to make fun of what was happening, to take very seriously what was happening, because they've had recent skirmishes with fascism. They know the impact of fascism, and this guy is definitely a fascist and embraces that.
When Lisa got cooked, Wall Street didn't even blink. The market's up, and the DEI hangover's over.
All right, guys, so that was a little bit of the background on this story. I don't even know where to start with these loonies on the left. They're so crooked and corrupt. We got President Trump, reaching out to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook after she was referred to the DOJ for mortgage fraud by Bill Pulte. This is the director of Federal Housing Financing Agency. Cook was appointed by Joe Biden back in 2022. And now the question is, how many government officials are committing mortgage fraud? I mean, this seems like a pattern. We've seen it with Letitia James, that corrupt New York Attorney General. We've seen it with old shifty Adam Schiff. And now we're seeing it once more. It seems like the Democrats just can't be honest on their mortgage applications. They're all getting a workaround to the system and ripping off America. It's so sad to see it. This is the same person who is in charge of lowering rates rates. I mean, she won't lower rates for Americans, but will, circumvent the system to lower rates for herself illegally. It's absolutely sad to see. And now mainstream media is trying to cover this all up, brush it off, or deduce it to a big nothing burger when this thing is serious.
Is this concerning, the idea of removing someone for something that happened before Senate confirmation, even if that particular issue might not have come up itself in the confirmation proceedings?
Well, I think the central question is, what does for cause mean? And it's likely to be adjudicated. Normally, you would think that for cause really relates to misbehavior while in office and misbehavior in carrying out the responsibilities of the office. This is, as you pointed out, is before confirmation. So we don't know yet how in all likelihood, courts will decide on that.
Well, it seems to me that we're potentially in a position where anything questionable, there hasn't been a criminal ruling on this or a court ruling of any kind, anything questionable that someone has done in the past, either during their tenure or before, could be cause in this frame, and that could lead to a certain politicization, if I can say it straight, politicization of the Fed itself, which is supposed to be non-political, no?
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. It's very early. Of course, the news only came out 24 hours ago or less, and there's a lot of ambiguity around the situation. So every day we'll probably get an update. But as of now, it appears that Lisa Cook is going to resist this and say it's wrongful dismissal or wrongful termination. And the Fed may back her up on that. And the White House has already made clear that they think they have the authority. I just don't know how this will play out, but we have to watch it. It is a distraction and a sideshow that is not good for the credibility of the Fed and keeping its focus on its mandated objectives, which is really what its job is.
It's really that she did anything wrong, but anything that's being raised pertains to, back when she was a professor at Michigan State, not at the Fed. Normally, firing for cause means that you're drinking on the job or you're stealing office supplies or something like that. It's something related to not doing the job. And there's been no hint of that. Nothing, no one has claimed, even the Trump people aren't trying to claim that she's doing a bad job at the Fed, that she's unqualified or behaving inappropriately. So this is crazy. This is, if I cheated on my third grade exam, should I be fired from my current job? This is completely insane.
Okay, so we're seeing how mainstream media outlets are covering this dishonest MSDNC, CNN. It's absolutely sad to see. They're saying that because this crime happened or occurred before she, took that seat as a Federal Reserve governor, that she shouldn't be punished for her criminal actions. Absolutely. I mean, just think about this. If it were you or I, there would not be a question as to if we were going to face penalty or be arrested for our crimes. I want to run you guys through this very thoroughly. And then the last guy on CNN saying that, this is something as simple as cheating on a third grade exam. Would you be fired from your current job or employer for that? I mean, come on, we're comparing mortgage fraud to cheating on a third grade exam. That just shows you how lawless and above the law these Democrats really believe they are. Actually got photos of both properties. Okay, so on the left, we've got Cook's primary residence for legal, tax, and financial purposes in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So we see this is a very nice home. All right, and then on the right is also Lisa Cook's primary residence for legal, tax, and financial purposes. This one in Atlanta, Georgia. And we just have the interior of this property. And then they continued on saying that if you did this, you'd be in jail. But Democrats argue that Lisa Cook is above the law because she's a black woman and a Biden appointee. This is absolutely sad. And then get this. This is the kicker, the thing that's really grinding my gears. Not only did she lie on both of these mortgage applications, declaring them both as her primary residence, she's living in neither one of these properties. Neither one. She's leasing them out or renting them out to folks. And then she hasn't reported any any of that income either. So that's another crime in itself. I mean, is that not a blatant tax evasion? It's all right there in black and white. I mean, the nerve of these Democrats, it absolutely blows my mind that, mainstream media outlets are trying to, sweep this all underneath the rug and say this is all, a weaponization of our government. But it's not. This is someone being held accountable for their crimes that they've committed. It's as simple as that. And of course, we got President Donald Trump speaking on the matter and saying that this is all justified. This lady needs to be held accountable.
About Lisa Cook. You have spoken out very strongly for a long time about what you see as the weaponization of government.
Yeah.
Is your administration weaponizing government by digging into the mortgage records of officials you don't like?
No, they're public. I mean, you can find out those records. You can go check out the records yourself. And you should be doing that job, actually. You wouldn't do that because that's not the kind of reporter you are. But you should be doing that job. I shouldn't have to be doing it. If you did your job properly, we wouldn't have problems like Lisa Cook. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
So would you be trying to fire
Blue?
Lisa Cook if she had voted to lower interest rates?
On national
Please.
security.
I think we have to have lower interest rates. Yes. Your questions.
On a serious note, when it comes to Fed Governor Lisa Cook, her lawyer has said that they're going to be filing a lawsuit challenging this legal action. What is your response? Are you prepared for a legal fight? And then a little bit more.
Oh, sure. Always. You always have legal
sir.
fights. Look, I had a legal fight that went on for years with crooked people, with very horrible people that have been found out now between John Ratcliffe and Tulsi and Pam. And I mean, the things that we found out, of course, it's a very, very sad group of people. But no, she seems to have had an infraction, and she can't have an infraction, and especially that infraction because she's in charge of, if you think about it, mortgages, and we need people that are 100% above board. And it doesn't seem like she was.
And right there was the statements coming from President Donald Trump. And I feel like he hit the nail right on the head. When it comes to Lisa Cook and her mortgage fraud crimes, really have to think about her position, where she stood alongside this entire matter. She's been standing right next to Too-Late Jerome Powell and keeping interest rates high for fellow American citizens. But yet she has been illegally circumventing the system and lowering rates for herself. Absolutely a shame, and that's a crime in itself, and she should be punished for it. All of this is justified, and it's not a political attack or witch hunt. This is simply just holding folks on the left accountable for their actions. We also have James Fishback weighing in on the situation, explaining exactly how this whole thing was warranted, and Lisa Cook is getting exactly what she deserves.
Her job is to guard against the type of mortgage fraud that undermines the financial system, not to go out and commit it herself. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913, Section 10, gives the president and the president alone the statutory legal right to remove a Fed governor for cause. This type of for cause stipulation includes wrongdoing. What is more wrong than lying on a mortgage application in the span of 2 weeks on 2 properties in 2 states, getting 2 separate mortgages, both claiming they were her primary residence? Right. What she did was wrong, un-American, and illegal. She has to leave office now.
Right. Well, you confronted her at the Fed board meeting, and you put up a tweet. You said, I was told that if I came back to the Federal Reserve Conference, I would be arrested and charged with trespassing simply for asking her about mortgage fraud.
That's exactly right, Carl. I was at that conference meeting with Fed researchers and regional Fed presidents discussing Azoria's new model that says that, once again, President Trump has it right, that interest rates are at least 1.7 percentage points too high. I was there to speak truth and provide a different opinion. And then when I saw Lisa Cook in the lobby on Friday morning, I asked her, I said, Governor Cook. And then I asked her about these mortgage fraud allegations. She turned away in disgust. And then minutes later, I was escorted out of the conference and told if I came back and asked Lisa Cook another question, I would be arrested and criminally charged with trespassing. This is the Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen. In 2025, if you ask them a question they don't like, if you provide an opinion that they don't appreciate, they will threaten you and punish you. And this is exactly what President Trump is getting at. This behavior is unbecoming of a Fed governor, and it is unbecoming of this institution.
Wow, guys, you just see how above the law these Democrats really believe they are, just by the encounter that we heard from James Fishback when he confronted Lisa Cook on her mortgage fraud crimes, her allegations. She had him, kicked out and gave him a trespassing notice. The nerve of these individuals. And now we've got Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calling for the prosecution and arrest of Lisa Cook in this one, guys. Check it out.
Is putting undue pressure on the Fed, and there are people like President Trump and myself who think that if a Fed official committed mortgage fraud, that this should be examined, and that they shouldn't be serving as one of the nation's leading financial regulators. And what we haven't heard from Ms. Cook is we haven't heard her say, "I didn't do it." We haven't heard her say, "I didn't do it." She just keeps saying the president can't remove her. The other thing, too, that I have called in the recent past for an internal review of all the Fed's operations, and I've encouraged Chair Powell to do this on an internal basis before there is an external review. And this is the kind of thing that needs to be addressed, because the Fed is an unaccountable institution, and its relationship with the American people depends on a high level of trust. And incidents like this puncture that trust. So President Trump is trying to make sure that anyone who serves at this institution has the trust of the American people.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calling it straight down the center when he says we need to see the prosecution of Lisa Cook. I mean, this is totally an erosion of the public trust within the Fed. These are supposed to be the same folks supposed to be overseeing crimes like this. They're hell-bent on keeping the rates high, but yet she is going around and circumventing, illegally going around the system, finding workarounds in order to lower rates for herself. Being the nerve of these individuals. And on the point of Lisa Cook saying that Trump has no authority, doesn't have the merit to, relieve her or fire her from her duties, we just got a tweet coming out from U.S. Homeland Security News saying, alert, President Trump now orders U.S. Marshals to remove the defiant Fed Governor Lisa Cook after she refused to step down. Okay, so looks like Trump's getting the U.S. Marshals involved. I'm not sure how much longer she'll be sitting in that seat as one of the governors on the Federal Reserve Board. And of course, this all has the internet exploding. Everyone's chiming in, coming to the talks. Let's check out what folks are saying. We got James Fishback. He's one of the first folks coming to the talk, saying that Lisa Cook is threatening to sue President Trump for firing her. Wouldn't it be easier for her just to prove that she didn't lie on 2 mortgage applications? I mean, first and foremost, don't threaten Trump with a good time. We know how he likes a good old legal battle. But then second of all, why are you jumping straight to, okay, I'm going to get my lawyers involved instead of, defending your name? I mean, if you're innocent, I would be saying, hey, I didn't do any of that. This was something that an error not on my behalf, or, explain the situation. But no, they're jumping straight to getting lawyers involved and suing President Donald Trump over, something they're calling political. No, we're trying to figure out, did you or did you not commit these crimes? But it looks like she's as guilty as could be. And then we got one Nick on X saying Lisa Cook repeatedly voted to not lower interest rates for us, which is bad enough itself, but this Fed governor also lied on her own mortgage documents to get a lower interest rate for herself. Arrest Lisa Cook. Now, we got a lot of folks that are calling for arrest. It's only a matter of time. I mean, with all these mortgage fraudsters, that the Tish Jameses, the Shifty Adam Shifts, they're gonna pay. Their day is coming. Then we got our friend Gunther Eagleman on X, of course, weighing in saying, if no one goes to jail for mortgage fraud, any properties that I buy will be my quote unquote primary residence. He's then saying, Your Honor, if Adam Schiff, Lisa Cook, and Letitia James can do it, why can't I? I mean, and that's going to be the question in tons of Americans' heads across our nation. If you can see all these loonies on the left, these blatant fraudsters getting away with mortgage fraud, I mean, we should all be able to do it at that point. If they're above the law, we should be above the law in that same sense. I can't disagree with Gunther Eagleman here. If we do not see these folks finally being held accountable for their actions, then this is going to set the the tone, set the message for Americans across our nation to just start committing blatant mortgage fraud, because everyone on the left seems to get away with it. They do it on a day-to-day, and they say it's nothing. They brush it off, deuce it to a big old nothing burger. Absolutely sad. Sickening to see. Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. Seeing yet another lawless figure of the left, believing that they're above the law, saying that it's a political witch hunt because she has been caught in the crosshairs of mortgage fraud allegation. It's ever so clear. We're seeing her declare 2 residences in 2 different states as her principal residence. It's 2 homes that she's not even occupying. She's not living in either one of them. She's actually renting them out and bringing in income from that and not reporting it to the IRS. I mean, that's another crime in itself. Tax evasion, mortgage fraud. These lawless Democrats on the left, they truly do believe it, guys. I'm starting to really think they believe that they're above the law. And honestly, if they don't get held accountable, prosecuted for their actions, I'm going to start believing it is true. I mean, the amount of times that we've seen this same exact crime being committed by the loonies on the left, and somehow no one's behind bars yet, it just leads me to believe, what else am I to think? But these folks truly are above the law. It's a 2-tier system of justice, and we're not playing by the same rules, guys. But definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open, and I'm excited to hear what you guys' thoughts is on this whole matter. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.